Hello, this is Garrett Polk with Polk Knives. Welcome to my channel. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit about my Polk Knives Woodsman. This for me is designed to be my idea of the ideal general purpose woods knife. It is the knife that I personally take with me into the woods almost every time I go. This particular one is my personal woodsman, although I have a couple of extra for sale here and will continue to make more as time goes on. Let's talk about some of the design features of the knife real quick. This is designed to basically excel at all of your typical tasks, whether it's split wood fires, whether it's trap making, shelter building, skinning, cleaning, quartering out game animals, cutting rope, camp chores, whatever you need to do in the woods, this is my go-to blade. My experience in the woods just comes from a couple decades of just being an avid outdoorsman. I've practiced a lot of various survival techniques, bushcraft stuff. I'm an avid hunter. I just really spend a lot of time in the woods, and I've kind of always sought the perfect knife, never really found it. And then I started making knives, and I worked on this design and kind of refined it through experience with just dozens and dozens of factory knives, custom knives, handmade production knives, you name it. I probably held it or held something similar. This is my interpretation of the perfect general purpose knife. It is typically made out of 1/4 inch thick CPM 3V steel. I've got a 4 1/8 inch blade length. That gives me just enough length so that I can really get through and do some heavy work, some woods processing, but it's still not quite too long to actually be convenient and comfortable to carry. It doesn't seem to get in the way, and it doesn't seem to weigh too much. The hardware options for it are typically quite varied. I have several pinholes pre-located when I cut out the blanks. These two at the front are for attaching a bolster. I can use these 4 and this one to do a 5-pin design, 2 here for a 2-pin design. My tube can accommodate a 1/4 inch lanyard tube or 3/8 inch mosaic. In these 2 holes I have enough room to run either 1/4 inch mosaics, 1/8 pins, Corby bolts, Loveless bolts, really a lot of options. And any of these hardware holes that are not actually utilized for hardware, I'll drill them out a little larger to further skeletonize these blades. I also really prefer, which is why you see mine, tapered tang option on this knife. That is not a standard option, but an upgrade. And the reason that I prefer it is it kind of removes some of the extraneous bulk, some of the extraneous weight that's not really necessary. It doesn't actually affect the structural integrity of the knife, but it just kind of slims it down, makes it not weigh as much, and I think it looks really good. It also kind of changes the balance point from right in front of the center of the handle up to right in front of your pointer, so it kind of improves the handling characteristics of that. A feature that is standard is all of these will come with a distal taper to the blade. That takes a little bit more work, but there's quite a bit of benefits to that. It allows for the back third or so of the knife to have the full thickness of the steel so that you have the maximum amount of wedging ability back here. Creates for a very, very strong blade, and it creates for a blade that has enough of a wedge shape that it's still efficient to get into the core of woods for split wood fires and wet conditions. In the middle of the blade, you're going to see it's a little thinner. The purpose of that is to have it handle along the main portion of the belly to make it handle a little more like your typical thickness outdoors knife. And the distal taper continues to the tip, which thins that out and gives you a little bit more control for your precision work for carving intricate figure 4 traps, opening packages, and so on and so forth, stuff like that. As far as the handle design, mine's a little thick. It has a distal taper and a pretty pronounced palm swell to it. I also have a swell back here, and this is sculpted anatomically to fit your hand. The idea behind that is when I go to put this knife in my hand, I want it to absolutely feel my hand in all ways, all grips, When I hold it like that, you'll see my fingers aren't digging into my palm. If I grab it absolutely as hard as I can, again, my fingers aren't digging into my palm. I'll wear a men's large glove. You'll also notice that when I go to hold it, the contours of this handle actually provide the retention by filling my palm, and I don't have to grasp this with a lot of force to maintain perfect control of the blade. That's really, really important to me because it reduces hand fatigue during long hours of heavy use. It also makes it a more efficient tool to use at the end of the day when you're already tired from hiking or hunting or camping or canoeing or whatever it is you want to do. And it just generally makes your knife feel and work better. This grip is optimized for a fuller saber grasp like this. However, it also works extremely well choked up. It works very well in a reverse grip for stabbing. You can look on the pommel and see that it's kind of an upside down egg shape. That's designed because your fingers are smaller than your palm to create a little more clearance for your fingers there. And although mine is in stag, you can see that I tend to carry these handle geometries onto all of my other blades as well. This one's in micarta. It's a more utilitarian material, happens to have bolsters. And again, you can see kind of that upside down egg shape through here. You can flip the knife up, see it at the front as well. And that just provides for a very, very, very comfortable and efficient handle design. The only downside to that type of handle design is it tends to be a little more work to make. I've burned through a little more abrasives and it takes a little longer, so it costs a little more than doing a generic handle contouring, but it produces a superior blade. With regards to sheath options, I do all of my own leather work. I also do my own kydex. My leather work has a whole lot of options. My kydex is pretty basic at this point in time. So we can go through some of the sheath options, and I'll discuss some of the various ones that are available right now, although these will be sold and eventually I'll have more. This one is an Impala jigged buffalo horn with white liners. This sheath is what I'm going to call a basic pouch with a scalloped design. Scalloped because of this. It's got a single row of stitching, tri-weave basket stamping, and like all of my sheaths, it's custom fit. The blade doesn't fall out. A more basic sheath is, again, a scalloped pouch. This one only has border stamping. It has double stitching at the top, single along the blade. This particular one is in Turkish walnut with a little bit of fiddleback, has a loveless bolt and a mosaic lanyard tube, green and black liners. Again, doesn't fall out. This one has a 2-panel double pointed basket weave stamp. The wood material on that is stabilized redwood burl over white G10 liners, again with a tapered tang. I really like the tapered tang feature on this particular model. It improves the handling quite a deal. And like all my sheaths, it doesn't fall out. We've already seen that. Here's my personal leather sheath. It has a full row of double stitching, scalloped, full coverage tooling. My dangler loop here has double line 24 snaps, so you can pop it on and off of your belt with ease. If you line these line 24 snaps up between your body and your belt so that it pinches them together, it absolutely will not fall off in the woods. If you don't want the dangler, my removable danglers also come with a removable D-ring where this post is a screw in and screw out post. So you can pop this whole thing off and leave it at home if you just want to wear it like a more traditional sheath. I did a custom color match on this one to match the orange at my stag. Doesn't fall out. And then my kydex is a simple pancake design. I designed my pancake with a little bit of a thumb ramp here. They are not scalloped, but they don't have to be. It's gentle enough. You can hear it pops in, pops out quite nicely. I'll put a drain hole at the tip with a 1/4-inch drill bit that silhouettes the tip, but you're not actually going to be able to cut yourself or any of your gear through there. I set my Kydex up to run a Blade Tech lock or these command locks. I personally prefer the command locks, although they have the exact same hole spacing as the Tech lock, so you can use whatever you want. The Tech locks have a little claw mechanism here that you can pinch with a folding locking mechanism here so that you can override the ability to open it. I find that this one has the sliding button. It's a little easier to work with, especially with gloves. It's a little quicker on and off, and it's absolutely strong enough, so I prefer the command lock. And I set my hole spacing up here so that I can run these either with the knife oriented vertically, inverted, horizontal, or like this one at a 45-degree cant. It can be done so on the right or left side of the sheath, on the top or bottom. So it's a very, very versatile system. And I personally like and use both Kydex and leather for my personal knife. Again, this is my Woodsman model, and it is my interpretation of the ideal general purpose woods knife. This particular one in my hand is my personal knife in Sandbar Stag. It's been dyed mahogany by Culpeper with a brass 1/8 pin in the front and a brass 1/4-inch lanyard tube in the rear. If you have any questions about this model, please feel free to contact me. You can ask any questions through the comments section or shoot me an email. If you like this video, please hit like. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you for stopping by.